My dad sold his dream Mustang to fix my future, but the truth showed up at my college door. When people ask what a parent said that still chills me, I think of my dad and his Mustang. Dad wasn't the hugging type. When I was 16, he got laid off from the mill, and bills piled up on our kitchen counter. Mom started working double shifts at the hospital. Dad kept polishing his cherry red '67 Mustang every Sunday. He bought it with his army bonus after Vietnam and called it his escape. Then one week I started hearing the engine at midnight. I'd peek through the blinds and see the red tail lights roll away. By morning, the car was back, but Dad's eyes were bloodshot. It happened night after night. Mom pulled me aside and whispered, "Your father's not sleeping. Just keep an eye on him, okay?" That scared me enough to follow him. I grabbed my bike and stayed a couple blocks behind. He drove to the rough part of town and parked behind a warehouse. I hid near a dumpster, trying to breathe quiet. Dad popped the trunk. Inside were brown paper packages. A guy in a leather jacket walked up. Dad handed over the packages, and the guy handed him a roll of cash. My stomach dropped. I rode home so fast my legs burned. At breakfast, I couldn't look at Dad, and he acted like nothing happened. 2 nights later, he caught me in the garage, staring at the trunk latch. His voice was flat. "Something you want to ask me?" "What's in the packages?" I blurted. His face went pale. "You followed me," he said. "Are you selling drugs?" He gave a short laugh that didn't sound like him. "No, kid." He opened the trunk and moved the spare tire. Inside were stacks of old books tied with twine. "First editions," he said. "My granddad's collection." His hands shook on the trunk edge. "Why are you selling books at midnight?" I asked. His jaw tightened. "Because your college fund is gone," he said. I felt my throat close. "Gone how?" "I put it into the mill's employee stock," he said. "I thought it would bounce back. It didn't." From inside the house, I heard Mom cry like she was trying to stay quiet. Dad swallowed and said, "No more secrets. I'll fix this. Trust me one last time." He shut the trunk like the talk was over. The next morning, the Mustang was gone, and so was he. On the counter was a note. "Back in a week." Mom fell apart. She called the police and filed a missing persons report. Every night, she sat at the table with the phone in her hand, jumping at every sound. A week felt like a year. On day 8, the front door opened and Dad walked in. His cheek was bruised, and his knuckles were raw. Mom rushed to him and grabbed his jacket. "Where were you?" she cried. He dropped a thick envelope on the table. Inside was cash, counted and banded. $43,000. Exactly what I needed for my first year at state school. My hands shook as I touched it. "Where's the car?" I asked. His eyes looked empty. "Gone," he said. Mom whispered, "What did you do for this?" Dad's voice stayed flat. "Don't ask me that," he said. I saw a line of dried blood under one of his nails, and I looked away. No one asked where the money came from after that. We acted like the question didn't exist. I left for college that fall. I called home most Sundays, but Dad kept it short. Then halfway through sophomore year, my RA knocked and said, "2 guys are here asking for you." 2 federal agents stood in the hall with badges out, and students slowed down to stare. They asked my name and stepped into my tiny room. They had pictures of the leather jacket guy, now in handcuffs. They also had a photo of our Mustang with the VIN circled. One agent said, "Your father sold the car to a chop shop tied to a drug crew. They used the VIN to forge papers and move product across state lines. Your father had to know." My ears rang. I kept thinking about Mom's shaking voice and Dad's bruised knuckles. I drove home that night without even packing. I found Dad in the garage, sitting on an overturned bucket where the Mustang used to be. He nodded like he was expecting me. "They came to see you," I said. "Yeah," he answered. "I knew this would happen the minute I sold it." "So you did know," I said. "You sold it to criminals." He looked me dead in the eye. "I sold it to protect my family," he said. "Those books weren't enough. The mill took everything. I had one thing left that was worth real money." "And the bruises?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. "That's the part you don't need to know," he said. "Sometimes being a father means making choices you can't explain." I started to argue, and he pressed a hand to his chest. His knees buckled, and he went down. Mom screamed, and I caught him, his skin slick with sweat. In the hospital, he drifted in and out while machines beeped fast. Near the end, he squeezed my hand with what little strength he had left. "Promise me," he whispered. "You'll never trade your soul for someone else. Not even your kids. The price is too high." His grip loosened, and the room went very still. Now my family is saying I shouldn't have followed his Mustang. Was I wrong?